Hello and welcome to Prime at 9. I'm Muamala and you're watching Hornbill TV. A huge fire damaged the Chakasang Mission Center Church in Pfutsero on Monday morning. The incident brings to fore questions about safety, municipal infrastructure, fire services in the undeserved areas, roads and the condition of fire and emergency services in Nagaland in general. In today's bulletin, we will discuss some of these issues with our senior news analyst A.L. Nguli, who can give us more perspectives. So, the Pfutsero fire incident has brought these huge instances to light on the surface, and that is the lack of proper emergency services in the state. So, can you first please highlight us on this issue?
Yeah, we have had a lot of major fire incidents in Nagaland even in the previous years, and even recently at Kermahal we had a very big fire. And I think by the recent counts that we have, I think more than 200 houses or kacha houses were destroyed in the fire. Now the case of Pfutsero Mission Church is a little different from the urban area fire incidents that we have been having. On Monday morning, it was during the wee hours that fire broke out from the church, and authorities are saying that it might be related to electrical short circuit. It might be related to something related to electricity and not something that was very deliberate. Anyhow, the issue here is a major township like Pfutsero not having a fire station. But by what we know, it takes about 2 to 3 hours from Peg to reach Pfutsero, and that's a very long distance for any fire personnel to reach. By the time they reach the place, I do not believe that they will be able to handle any fire incident, or God forbid, if there were human casualties, I think things would have been much worse. But unfortunately, this is not only the case in Pfutsero but everywhere in Nagaland because of the way fire services in Nagaland is organized.
Then can you tell us how important is good road connectivity when it comes to providing proper emergency services in the state?
Yeah, I think the importance of good road connectivity, especially in the urban and rural areas, is something that we cannot understate. We cannot afford to understate it. It is very important. The first thing here is a well-planned road network is very important for firefighters because it offers them very fast and efficient response during cases of fire. I would like to narrate a story here. Way back in early 2000, there was a very big fire at Railway Colony. I think it was way back 2006, yeah. And I remember going there with the reporters, and even as we were approaching the site of the fire at Railway Colony, we could still hear the firefighters. They were still stuck up there behind the railway lines. There's a small approach road. They've been there for more than an hour, and the colony has been burning for more than 1.5 hours now, and they couldn't do anything about it because there was no road going in. There was no road, and all the little alleys and the passages that went inside the colony were packed by people, by curious people, by people wanting to see how fire looks, and the fire personnel could not go in. Later on, they started blaming, I think some people started blaming the firefighters. You came late, you did not respond early and all that, but at the end of the day, it is about passage and connectivity. Good roads offer efficient and faster response for emergency teams to reach you in case of emergencies.
Then this situation happened in Pfutsero, and tomorrow it can happen to any one of us.
Yes,
so in situations where the fire department doesn't reach the location on time, what options does the public have?
Unfortunately, we don't have much options here. because in the absence of proper fire services in our areas, at least we are in Dimapur, Kohima, Moshong, I think they have proper fire services at least to serve the municipal areas. But if we go a little further beyond the main townships into the rural areas and even in the subdivisions, I think fire services will be lacking there, and the situation will be a little more difficult for people there in case some kind of an emergency comes up. Now, relating to the options that we have in case we don't have proper infrastructure for firefighting, we don't have proper fire services in our area, we don't have much options except to take care. I think it is advisable if we can use fire alarms too, if we can regularly check the wirings in our homes at least, and if we could have a small community agency that can take care of emergencies such as fire incidents. I am told that by the time the fire services reached the church in Pfutsero, I think the fire had already destroyed the building, something like that, because the road was so bad. Even though the fire services could somehow reach the place, it was very late. So we don't have much options. We cannot always depend on fire services from 64 kilometers away to come and reach us if something happens. So I think the best options we have right now is setting up fire alarms, checking our electrical wirings at home regularly, and setting up community help groups to respond in time of emergencies. Amen.
Okay. Lastly, El, can you tell us what could be the best steps to avoid situation like this from happening again?
Yeah, I think it's practically the few options that I've mentioned only now. However, I think community organizations and group can come together, they can work together on a plan, and I think maybe they can approach the authorities to set up a fire service station in their areas, for example, especially in the underserved areas. We were talking about Pfutsero, but there are a lot of places in Nagaland that do not forget fire services. They don't even have proper electricity facilities. So the best option right now we have is to engage in a community agency, come up with an agency that can represent themselves and their need to have fire services in their area, and approach the government. One of the most unfortunate things about fire services in the country, not only Nagaland, in the country, is that it is one of the worst organized government organizations in India. Even the Director General of Fire Services of India itself says it is one of the most unorganized organizations in India. It has huge shortage of manpower. You need about 5,57,000 workers, firefighters in India. We have only about total approximately 54,000. We have about 90% shortage. We have about 70% shortage in firefighting equipment, and we don't have personnel who can develop in the organization in firefighting skills, in new firefighting paradigms, who can grow up on the who can grow in the services. So we have a lot of problems here. But right now, I don't want to veer away from the question. Right now, the only option is to just engage in community and engage with the government in setting up at least a semblance of fire services within our urban areas, village, subdivisions. Amen.
Okay, thank you so much for your information.
Thank you, Amen.
This was our news analyst, Sir L, on lack of proper emergency services in Nagaland.